Hey, good morning, Travels with Dottie, and today we have a positive news story on artificial intelligence in medicine. And this one I found particularly interesting. I know for years they've been using robotic surgery, and that is robots that doctors manipulate in surgery to be more accurate and consistent. I do remember the main system that they would talk about is called the Da Vinci system, and there have been some pretty remarkable enhancements to that. Just to the key takeaways from this Health Day article are: an AI program has learned to drive a multi-armed surgical robot to perform surgical tasks. It's kind of obvious. The AI learned by watching hundreds of videos of robot operations driven by human doctors. So it's actually learning and programming itself by watching videos. Pretty significant. The AI now is as skillful as human surgeons performing a handful of key tasks. Now, this isn't saying that there's not going to be a doctor in the room and this robot's going to operate on you. That's not at all what they're saying, but that could happen someday. The robot's powered by the same AI that underpins what you know about as Chat GPT, you've heard so much about. The AI has become skillful as human doctors that perform a handful of tasks requiring during robot-assisted surgery, right? So there's a doctor there and the robot's assisting. So what are some of the tasks? And by the way, before I tell you, there are 7,000 of these Da Vinci robots in the field performing surgeries. More than 50,000 surgeons have been trained on the system. That's pretty big. So the team trained the robot to perform 3 tasks: manipulating a needle, lift body tissue during a surgical procedure, and suture, close wounds with needle and thread. It says later in the article that they had noticed that a robot dropped a needle and it just went and picked it up and continued the job. And what's notable about that is no one programmed it to do that. It learned on its own. The team's now teaching the AI to perform the full surgery. So they're training it. Don't worry, it's what could go wrong, right? They're not having the robot perform a surgery on a human being yet by itself. But prior to these advancements, I'm going to tell you how significant this is. Programming a robot, even simple surgical tasks, required hand coding. That's the old-fashioned way, where a programmer sits down on a keyboard and writes a program. Someone might spend a decade teaching the robot to suture just for one type of surgery. That's very limiting, right? What's new here is we only have to collect a limited imitation learning of different procedures, and we can train a robot to learn it in a couple of days. It allows us to accelerate the goal of autonomy while reducing medical errors and achieving more accurate surgery. Because these findings here's a caveat, these findings were presented in a medical meeting that should be considered preliminary until a published peer-reviewed journal is available. But guys, this is where it's heading. This is good news. Surgeries will be more accurate. They'll be more consistent, and probably less money over time. So this is pretty exciting stuff. I'll link to the Health Day article so you can read more in detail about it. Pretty amazing stuff. I'll see you tomorrow.